Welcome to Strawberry Inc. This is a true crime podcast where I cover all sorts of cases. Today, I will be covering the person who killed the infamous serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who is known throughout history. In recent episodes, I have covered two of his victims, Jeffrey Dahmer, who I just named and who I covered last episode, and Jesse Anderson, who I covered a while ago. The episode is called TGI Friday's Murder. After listening to this one, I recommend you to look that one up. Let's get right into it. Christopher Scarver's life began taking a sharp turn as he got older. Mental health problems began to creep in, and he turned to alcohol as well as marijuana. Those were his remedies to cope. As healthcare in America is one of the most expensive, and there are barely resources available, very few, Scarver's drinking grew heavier, and the drugs became a part of his daily life. Eventually, his mother had enough and kicked him out. With nowhere to go, Scarver joined the Wisconsin Conservation Corps, a job program aimed at giving young people work skills. There, he became a part-time carpenter. Scarver's supervisor, Edward Path, promised that if he could complete the program, he'd be hired full-time. Scarver clung to that promise as a lifeline. But then, Pats was dismissed from the program, and the promise of this job offer evaporated. Scarver was left unemployed, directionless, and angry. His drinking intensified, and he began to experience disturbing delusions. Voices told him he was the chosen one. His reality became warped, and paranoia began to drive his actions. On June 1st, 1990, Scarver walked into the program's administration office, armed with a gun. Inside were Stephen Lohman and site manager John Scarver pointed the weapon at the employee, Lohman, and demanded money from Fallon. Fallon froze. Scarver pulled the trigger, shooting Lohman in the head. Lohman died instantly. Scarver then said, "Now, do you think I'm kidding? I need more money." He fired two shots into Lohman's body. Fallon quickly wrote Scarver a $3,000 check, then fled. Scarver chased after him, but fired and missed. Fallon managed to escape. Police arrived within minutes and arrested Scarver. He was taken to the Milwaukee District 1 police station, then booked into the Milwaukee County Jail. Stephen Lohman's funeral was held at the Heritage Funeral Home on June 13th, 1990. He was cremated. Milwaukee County DA Michael McCann charged Scarver with 3 felonies: first-degree murder, aggravated robbery, and illegal weapons possession. McCann personally prosecuted the case. Scarver appeared before Judge Victor Manion and pleaded not guilty. The judge ordered him to be held without bond in the Milwaukee County Jail. Scarver's public defender, Alan Arnstein, sought permission to pursue an insanity defense. The courts allowed it, and Scarver changed his plea to not guilty by reason of insanity. Another public defender, Teresa Andre, joined his defense team. If successful, Scarver could have been sent to a mental institution instead of a prison. The state, however, brought in Assistant Attorney General Charles Hoonstra to challenge the defense. Scarver's trial began on March 17th, 1992 at the Milwaukee County Circuit Court. A jury of 12 members and 2 alternates listened to evidence. Judge Manion refused to acquit Scarver without letting the jury decide his fate. On April 3rd, 1992, Scarver was found guilty on all charges. He was immediately sentenced to life in prison without parole. After sentencing, Scarver was held temporarily at the Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun, Wisconsin. He was later transferred to the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, where he eventually met serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. While still at the Dodge, Scarver asked Judge Mannion for a new trial. The request was, however, denied, so he appealed to the higher court. In 1993, the Wisconsin Court of Appeals upheld the conviction. The U.S. Supreme Court later refused to hear his case. That was the last update as of the appeal. On November 28, 1994, just days after Thanksgiving, Scarver's path crossed Dahmer's in a deadly way. That morning, Dahmer and a fellow inmate, Jesse Anderson, were cleaning the prison gym. The guard assigned to Scarver had walked away, leaving him unsupervised. The two other guards who should have been watching the gym were distracted, one making a phone call and the other listening to music. Scarver walked in, pretending he was there to help clean. In reality, he was about to do something horrific. He was armed with a 20-inch metal bar from the prison's exercise equipment. First, Scarver attacked Anderson, stabbing him repeatedly. Then he turned to Dahmer and did the same. Guards rushed into the gym after hearing screams of chaos. They chained Scarver. Dahmer died at the Divine Savior Hospital in Portage an hour later, and Anderson died there 2 days later. Jesse Anderson's funeral service took place on December 9th, 1994, at the Bailey Funeral Home in Vienna, Illinois. He was buried at the town's Fraternal Cemetery. Jeffrey Dahmer's funeral service was held on December 12, 1994, at the Babbitt Bust Funeral Home in North Royalton, Ohio. He was cremated. Prosecutor Jana Coley charged Scarver with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Scarver appeared before Judge Richard Rem in the Columbia County Circuit Court and pleaded not guilty. After killing Dahmer and Anderson, Scarver moved multiple times. In 1995, MCFP Springfield, Missouri, for psychiatric evaluation. In 2000, ADX Florence, Colorado, for high security isolation. Later in 2000, the Wisconsin Secure Program Facility in Boscobel, and since 2001, the Centennial Correctional Facility in Canyon City, Colorado. Scarver's attorney, Stephen Cohn, negotiated a plea deal. On May 15, 1995, Scarver pleaded no contest to the new murder charges and received 2 additional life sentences without parole that would run consecutively to his very first life sentence. Scarver appealed, but in 1996, the Wisconsin Court of Appeals upheld his conviction and denied a resentencing. Today, Scarver remains in that Colorado prison, serving 3 consecutive life sentences. Thank you for listening. Please follow and share this show to your loved ones. Have a good rest of your day.